I'm Mike Bui, your host with Small Moment, Big Impact podcast. In today's episode, I'm talking with Bosco Nguyen, co-owner of Scalp Society, #1 rated clinic for scalp micropigmentation in the entire Bay Area. Welcome to the new episode of Small Moment, Big Impact podcast. Today, I got a very special guest with me, Bosco Nguyen, co-owner of Scalp Society, the #1 rated clinic in all of the Bay Area for scalp micropigmentation. Welcome, Bosco.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to be on this podcast today because we're going to delve into and find out that small moment that created the big impact in your life and your business today. So appreciate you being on the show. So tell me a little bit about your history, because, full disclosure, you are my cousin and we are related. And there's just so many different things that we could talk about on this podcast today. But I know that there are things from our past, from our schooling and education, and just all those things that really got you to where you are today. So I'd love to get a little bit of history, like take us back a decade or two and share with us who Bosco was then.
Yeah. So, growing up, I was always into drawing. I'd draw any superhero that I could get my hands on.
Okay.
He-Man, Goku.
Yeah.
All the different
Trunks.
Trunks
From Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. And even though I was doing it as a hobby, doing it all the time, I never thought that I could apply that to something that I would do later on in life.
Got it.
So like a lot of college kids.
Okay.
And high school kids, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, we're just going to school,
make a living.
Oh, yeah.
And so my parents, like a lot of Asian parents, they just wanted me to become a doctor.
They had a plan for you.
Yeah,
like a straight path on where you're gonna go and what exactly you're gonna do. What was that plan?
So my dad was an engineer,
Okay.
and he wanted me to be an engineer.
All right.
So he nudged me along that path.
Yeah.
By subsidizing some of my college tuition.
Okay.
And so, I was good at my math and
Yeah.
sciences, and I thought it was a good idea.
Okay.
So I ended up getting my degree in electrical engineering in 2009.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then, started working right after college.
Yeah. So would you say it was an awesome experience, an awesome 9-to-5 that you had, and it was a low-paying, mid-range?
No, I was comfortable. I was making six figures.
Yep.
And I was just coasting.
Yeah.
The thing was, after a couple of years, I felt that I was getting some signs of just me being unhappy.
Okay.
I would count down the time when I could leave work.
Uh-huh.
I would be
just
distracted
like
at
like
work.
a ticker just coming. 5 minutes left, 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so it was just all these signs pointing out that I actually wasn't happy with what I was doing.
Okay.
It was just day in and day out sort of things.
It became kind of monotonous. It was
I
just
was missing the passion.
Okay.
Basically, wasn't passionate about my work.
All right. So then from there on, I know it's a difficult process to even come up with an idea for a business, let alone a business plan and how to get things started. There had to be something that really struck you hard to where you saw that I want to get into business for myself. Kind of share with us what got you into this scalp micropigmentation and then becoming an artist and all that.
Yeah, so that small moment was actually when me and my good friend, went to a hair transplant doctor to see what we can do about our receding hairlines.
Okay.
So we eventually didn't go through the transplant because there was just so many risks involved with a hair transplant.
Okay.
Especially you're left with a scar, and not to mention like all the money involved in actually getting a transplant done.
Wow.
So my good friend actually kept doing his research, found out about scalp micropigmentation.
Okay.
And basically had the procedure done. But it was really hard for him to find a good clinic here in the Bay Area.
Understand.
He had to fly elsewhere to get his treatment.
Wow.
And so in that moment, after seeing how how the treatment affected him positively,
Yeah.
and how it made him feel,
Yep.
we realized that, hey, this is such a great service, and that this service needs to be provided here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And
So you saw a need.
Yeah, definitely. We saw the need, and so we wanted to be the premier provider of high quality treatments out here in the Bay Area.
All right. So walk us through a little bit of that that process and that journey, right? To finding a need for a certain need itself, for a niche business, and how did you go about learning, studying, practicing, doing all that to get to where you are today after 3 years, the #1 rated clinic in the Bay Area for scalp micropigmentation?
So it first starts off by getting the proper training.
Okay.
So me and my
else,
business partner, we had to fly out to the East Coast, where there is the pioneers of the industry.
Got it.
So we got our training with one of the best, or considered one of the best artists out there.
All right.
And after that, we actually furthered our training in Asia to further develop our skills, and then brought that all back in order to get to where we are today.
Yeah, it's similar to our business or any business out there. In order to always be closing, you have to always be learning. So you actually advanced your training out in Asia, so you can bring that back here and do it in a masterful way.
Exactly. And that doesn't just stop there. Once you learn the craft, you have to bring it back and further develop it.
Okay.
So we're at a point where we feel that we've mastered our craft. Now we're offering training courses to aspiring artists or clinics that actually want to add this service to their clinic,
their business
their
itself.
business. Yeah.
Wow. So you went from seeing a need to developing an entire business around scalp micropigmentation. It is not easy to start a business here in the Silicon Valley. It is one of the most competitive areas of business, and they say 3 out of 4 businesses fail within the first 5 years. So share with us, I know it could not have been easy leaving, and it's really inspirational, a 6-figure job as an engineer that would pay you every single month, and you'd know what you're getting every single month, and going into starting a business for yourself and starting from scratch. Share with us a little bit for our listeners and our viewers to just understand that process and the mindset that you had to have.
Absolutely. It was not easy, to make that decision.
Yes.
Obviously, I was cush, I was, comfortable. I was getting, paychecks. I had bills. But fortunately, I had some money saved up.
All right.
And so, there's so many hurdles to starting up a business.
It's almost like the world doesn't want you to succeed.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly. So, I didn't have the background of, with business. I didn't know marketing. I had no experience with, working with contractors to remodel a space in order to make it, nice, like your office. So, there were so many learning experiences for me to even get to where I am.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's all worth it because I get to spend time with my wife and kids. I get to make my own schedule.
Yep.
And, I actually get to invest my talents into something that I really like and, help others while doing it.
And let me take that back real fast to where you said that you get to spend more time with your wife and your kids. I think our listeners here, the key thing about doing anything that we do is we have to know the reason why we're doing it for, right? We might have a passion for a certain industry or a skill, but circling back, I think the most important things to us is, and you and I kind of share in the same family values, is that we want that more time so we can spend with our family. And definitely this has given you that independence for it. But at the same time, I can sense your passion as you're talking about this. How is it with your clients? I know that they come in and it must not be an easy process to want to go in for a treatment. And how do they feel when they're done? And share with us a little bit about how that process is.
Yeah, so one of the greatest things about what I do is about how my clients feel after they get the treatment done.
Okay.
It really makes me happy when I get a selfie from my clients after, you know what I mean? So it feels really satisfying to me that I was able to make such a positive impact in their lives. They'll text me, how great they feel about
more
now being able to go to family parties without having a hat on.
Yeah.
And this is all part and all thanks to the technique that we use. Basically, it basically doesn't require an invasive procedure like transplants, but it allows someone to take back control of their hair loss.
Yeah. That's amazing. That it's got to be so satisfying to know that, kind of similar to the theme of our podcast here, small moment, big impact. They made a decision to go into your clinic and ask for your services. And once the treatment has been completed, would you say that they have a second wind of self-confidence?
Absolutely. They regain their confidence.
Nice.
And you could see it in their stature when they walk out. They have their chins up.
Yeah.
And
it's got to be an amazing feeling for you too as well.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I enjoy going in and work every day.
Got it. And that's what keeps you and that's what drives you every day to continue to go. I know it's exciting times after being in business for a few years now. You're also in the process of launching a secondary location. Is that right?
Yeah. We're going to be launching our SF location in June.
Okay.
So actually soon, 2-3 weeks from now.
Wow. So you took what you learned from the very first location on working with contractors, full on build out, design. How did your office look like when you first envisioned it to where it is today? Has it gone through any major transformations?
It always, constantly goes through a little bit of refinement.
Okay.
It's just, with my taste, we change out, the furniture. We'll change out the wall decor, things like that. But, the whole cohesive look of Scalp Society will remain intact when we open up our SF location.
Very nice. Yeah, it's kind of keeps and maintains that brand that you developed within the last few years to keep that going itself. Let's circle back and pivot just a little bit from your past, as I know in our society today, we all want to do the things that we feel as though we should do. Finish high school, go to college, get a job in a career that is long-standing or for the long haul, and build a career within it. I know that my parents also had a dream for me and what I should have got into business and what I could do, but I always knew that I had a sales knack, and that's why I got into the real estate business. I know that your parents and your family had a path for you carved out to follow your father's footsteps in being an engineer also as well. But throughout that process, during when you were in school, did you ever think that, man, I don't want to do this. I want to drop out. I want to do something else. Did you ever have those moments?
Yeah, I had those moments all the time. I mean, I would continue to draw. I would continue to, do desktop graphics.
Yeah.
Like, for example, your Lannon's baby shower.
Yes.
I created the whole backdrop for that event.
Yep.
So, I was trying to apply my art because it brought me joy to different parts of my life besides, my career, because I didn't know that could have been an option for me.
That is right. I still remember we were going to launch a blog and a catalog and selling T-shirts together. What do we call it? Clouded Brain?
Clouded Brain, yeah.
Yeah, and that was going to be the biggest blog out there. That entrepreneurial spirit between us has always been there. It's basically finding a linear focus on one thing that we truly wanted to do. So I'm so excited that you found that focus in your business today. And I know that when we kind of go against the grain per se, things that our parents wanted us to do, it was difficult because you and I, we both had those tiger parents, right? They're always overseeing, overlooking, making sure that we're doing this, making sure that we're playing piano and practicing it all throughout the day or the week for our recitals, however. Now that you're a father too, So let's kind of fast forward now to having 2 children itself. How is it being a family person, a family man, a father, a business owner, literally doing just about everything on the business itself and taking care of clients? How do you balance all that together?
Well, when you're really passionate about what you do, you actually get more done in the time that you have.
Yeah.
Right. And so you just have to, it all comes down to scheduling too.
Yes.
I'll try to schedule all of my consultations, all my treatments in a good chunk of the day.
Yeah.
That way I can leave some time, early afternoon or late afternoon with my kids.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just good planning and scheduling.
So time scheduling, time blocking. Yeah, because these moments when our children are so young, it's important for us to be there to help develop it. Granted, we're so grateful and thankful for everything that our parents did for us, but they were workhorses and they worked all the time. So it was hard for us to spend that time with our dads and getting that special type of love.
That's also, one of the deciding points for when I chose to, open up this business. I actually wanted to have more time for my kids because this is such a crucial time. You'll never get this back.
Yeah. And you only have so much time to give for so long before, everyone says once they hit 13 years old, they change the tune. My daughter's 4. It sounds like she's going on 14 already. So we don't want them to say, hey, put on my headphones, Dad, go away. We want that time with them now. And I think that is very, very important to both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So kind of moving forward a little, kind of fast forward, what's your overall goal or the next 5 or 10 years in your line of business, right? Because I know a lot of times when we're in our career, we're doing something, even in different industries, we can become complacent and completely comfortable with what we're doing. And there's no more challenges to keep us exciting. There's no action that has to do with it. How do you see yourself in your scalp micropigmentation business and kind of further growing or developing or even on a Silicon Valley term, scaling a business per se?
So the next step for us would be building our brand visibility, making more content like what you're doing yourself, and so we can reach more people. And we also want to be able to put content out there, so then we're the resources for people who are who want to consume information about the actual industry, about what this treatment can do for them. Nothing beats a good YouTube video that's informative, that shows videos, pictures. So that's the next step, actually making a lot of content so people can dive into.
Yeah, so you're going to curate more content, get more brand visibility, and the ultimate thing is exposure.
Exactly.
Right? Because I'm sure that this isn't just something in California. It goes from the East Coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast, travels internationally, where everyone has this type of issue. And if you're the ones who are curating the content that can actually educate, inform, and help people execute or assure them about a decision that they're making, very similar to our industry that I'm in, is in real estate, is we don't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. We're constantly just assuring people that this is what you wanted, this is what you needed, this is our assurance and our expertise to advise you on what you need to do. And that's kind of like your process during share with us, kind of just break down a consultation. For example, if I didn't have this big Bui hair right now, and I had a recessed line, and I came in to visit Mr. Bosco Nguyen himself for a consultation, how would you do that? How would the approach be?
It's simple. It's what's your goal?
Yes.
And so once you tell me your goal, then I'm able to assess if that goal is realistic or not.
Okay.
And with my expertise, I'll be able to let you know what would be your next best option.
Okay.
If you're not looking for a hair transplant, then we have 2 different options for you. If you have enough hair and it's you just need to add a little bit of density, we can go that route. We can just darken your scalp so then it looks like you have more hair on your head.
Okay, so less skin visibility, just more dense.
Exactly. Let's just say that you're a Norwood 7 or Norwood 8. That's the hair loss scale.
Okay.
That's basically it's not thinning hair. It's basically you're at the point of being bald.
Okay.
So in order to camouflage that, you'd have to actually, shave your head down to a buzz cut,
Okay.
and we can actually recreate and replicate your hair follicles to make it look natural.
Wow. That sounds like a simple but very complicated process that you've turned into a system on how to do it. Wow. I just learned a lot right now. Norwood 6, Norwood 7. Where would you say is the most common theme that you might be seeing out here in the Bay Area? Because I know probably a lot of people, even in my industry, a lot of people want to buy a house, but they don't know how to get started. Or a lot of folks who purchased a house and they've never sold one, they don't know the process. And it could be daunting from all the things that they read online, all the YouTube videos that they're watching from anyone who's curating it. Share with us a little bit about, how can someone go about their approach to where they don't feel like it's such a daunting process to come and talk to somebody for a consultation?
A lot of people that come into the clinic, they are basically scaring themselves because they're looking up YouTube videos of treatments that are botched. That's somebody who didn't do any training.
Yeah.
They did it on somebody, and guess what? They're looking at, oh my goodness, how bad this treatment can be.
Yeah. So they're looking at like these. Share with us how does that look like?
It looks like having a helmet head. Kind of a very unnatural looking treatment and procedure. Looks like you have big moles all over your scalp.
Wow.
And
that's got to be tough.
Unfortunately, we've actually had to camouflage quite a few of those over the past few years.
Okay. So for those who are listening to our show today, if you know of anyone who's had a per se botched treatment, then definitely they can reach out and see if there's other options that are available. How come we couldn't have that kind of help when we were younger, when we used to get those bowl cuts around? We didn't have any love back then.
Yeah.
We just had to we were stuck with it.
Yep.
So now I've got this hair, you've got that hair, and you've got a fabulous business that you're able to help and impact so many lives. And kind of just to wrap up, it was a small moment that you had in finding a need for such a niche business that now has had a major impact. I would say, to set the tone, it's a huge impact that you're making on others' lives, and at the same time, it's so rewarding for you to be able to be the person that does that. So to wrap up our show today, I'd love for you to give some type of inspirational message for those viewers and listeners today that are listening to our podcast.
To the viewers today, to the kids in high school or college, even though you don't know what you want to do, that's okay. Just don't let anybody tell you or veer you to a path that you're not going to be, passionate about. Because even though it's your parents telling you to do this, in the end, you don't want to, regret and also resent them later on in life. So, just keep an open mind on the possibilities out there, because we're living in a great age right now, the age of the internet. You can make YouTube videos for a living.
And we live in an area of the Silicon Valley where it's not just a lifestyle, it's a mindset, right? To live here in the Silicon Valley, you have to be a go-getter. You have to be someone that wants to do more than just the norm. And we've seen that with the growth of all of the major tech companies, healthcare companies, financial companies. For the most part, it's all of the startups, right? We've had 9 different IPOs just within the last few months. 6 of them were major IPOs. So it's not to say that we couldn't just get our heads together, write down a business plan, and get something started. It's good that you brought that up for inspiration. Is keep an open mind and kind of follow your heart or your dream, whatever it may be?
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep an open mind, and try to really understand and realize what's your passion.
Yeah.
And once you realize your passion, then you can figure out what you want to do.
Yep.
Because I didn't know I was going to be a scalp micropigmentation artist.
Yeah.
But there's artistry in that.
Yes.
And I actually really enjoy what I do, even though it's not, drawing but it actually is creating something that is artistic.
Yeah.
And that does, use my skill set.
Yeah, you're making masterpieces that are walking around all over the Bay Area and really impacting others' lives. Well, thank you again for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you got some really good information out of this and some great inspiration. Thank you, Bosco.
And thank you, Mike, for not roasting me.
Yeah.